some Louis. Oh. Oh. I'm like,
Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mango Tea Podcast, where we give you tea with a slice of mango. We are recording in the month of September, which is everything. It's Indigenous American Month, it's Suicide Awareness Month, and today I brought on a very good friend of mine to talk about his journey with mental health. He's launching a podcast soon, which I'm actually very, very excited on. And I will be a featured guest on his podcast, letting him know right now. So I have Gibby with me. Gibby, thank you for joining us. Thank you for... Of course. All right. So Gibby, can you tell my... who was Gibby in your own words?
Man. Gibby was a wild dude. 2008. Former class clown winner in high school. I was all over the place.
I'm not surprised.
And now I'm a father of two. I've grown a lot in the mental space. I've grown a lot as a man, as a human being. And now I'm very aware with my mental health, with my life personally, my social life. And now I'm going into this new space of podcasting. I'm excited. And I'm just excited to talk about my journey and how I became this person, because a lot of people don't know this person. They know the 2009 Gibby, the wild, traveling, partying, popping bottles Gibby. This calm, relaxed Gibby is new to everybody. So just want to experience and tell everybody how this journey started.
Okay, so Gibby and I met actually through a mutual friend, going to Carnival, and there was an experience that happened. But before we get into that, Gibby, let's start. How did this journey? Because there are a lot of steps in the way. There's an admonition on social media that happened where you just like purged yourself and you freed yourself, and then now we have the podcast starting up in October. So let's this is a timeline. Let's rewind, pull up rewind real quick, and start from the beginning. How did you start? How did this journey start?
So this journey started about 2 years ago in 2019, Carnival. Mm-hmm. And right before Carnival, I was dating a young lady, actually the mother of my second child. We was dating, and it happened to be her birthday. And for her birthday, she wanted to go to Atlantic City. And she went with her friends, and I went with my friend at the time. And, usually I would dip and dabble, gambling here and there, winning $25, $30. Mm-hmm. That's how it started. It started real slow. But then that weekend, I don't know if it was the pressure of going on vacation or if it was the pressure of her being her birthday, I kind of went a little extreme. And going a little extreme, we lost a lot of financial tools. A lot of money was wasted that in one night. And approximately, I say $17,000 to $18,000.
Wait. 17 and 3 zeros? Oh my gosh.
In one night. And then I had a vacation the next day. So I never really got to soak in that loss. And what happened was I never enjoy is the wrong word. I never soaked in the loss. So I went home to try to still enjoy the vacation. And so I went on the vacation, and that's how we actually met. So you would have never realized I was there, but it was I wasn't there. It was like, how they say never judge a book by its cover, and you never knew what was going through. I looked happy, but I really, really, really wasn't, because I knew I had to face something when I got back home. And I was explaining to the wife how I just lost $17,000.
And you went on, Trinidad Carnival vacation, because I don't know if our listeners know, but I think we mentioned this, for Trinidad, you need to plan a year in advance. You basically pay for Trinidad, and then you're on a trip, and you have this huge thing looming over you. But you're at one of the most, I think they say one of the most happiest place, because it is a very happy event and a happy place. Oh my gosh.
And to try to balance that, because I'm also there with a friend who knew what was going on, and he did a good job to try to make me forget everything that was going on, to get me to enjoy it. And I had my moments I did enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But I realized sometimes when you try to escape reality, you can't really escape reality because you still have to face it. And even though I try to escape, sooner or later you're going to have to face it. And when I had to finally face it, it was really, really tough. So as soon as we land, I got home, and as soon as I got home, I had to tell the mother of my child what happened. And her reaction was devastating. Like, I've never seen her so depressed, so upset. It felt like we didn't have a way. And me, I'm the type of person who I always feel like, but at the time, I didn't know what was going to happen because we have a newborn. Our child was young. And we both, have responsibilities, but, as the man, I had some financial burdens, and now I didn't know what was next. So in us dealing with it, her emotion, her sensitivity really just made me feel like I failed her. And I failed everybody. I felt like I failed my friends. I failed my family. And the reaction, and the only way I felt like reacting to it was by causing harm to myself. So that day, I think it was a little overreaction, but it still meant a lot to me because what happened afterwards. But in the moment, I took a knife, or it was a knife, and I slashed my arms heavily. And she called the ambulance. Ambulance came, and when they came, they took me to a mental facility. Now, as soon as you walk in, you automatically assume crazy stuff. Joker. You think you're running into the Joker, or Hannibal Lecter is going to be there. And that's how you think about it. And I was so wrong. I got in there, and it was my peers. It was people my age, my skin complexion. Now, there was also, Caucasian people. There was different, demographics. But I believe that there was people there that looked like me. And it was there for problems that I looked at it in the moment like, you're here for this? I had a therapist, not to say her name. She's a therapist, and her job was to save people's lives. And she was there for a suicide attempt because of her suffering from migraines. True story.
Oh my gosh.
She tried to kill herself by taking pills. And she went to a motel. And she took her pills and went to a motel. And she was supposed to die. And the only reason she survived was that her husband thought she was cheating. Because they had to find my iPhone, and he saw that she was at a motel. And he went to go confront the man, and when he got there, it was his wife overdosing on pills. That's the only reason she's alive. And she's a therapist. Think about that. She's a therapist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It was that deep. Had other people who was having relationship problems, depression. And from there, we just formed a bond, and we all just spoke, and we had each other back. And at the time, I was going through a lot. I had a restraining order because she was so upset. And not to say because of anything abusive or anything, it was just that she didn't want to speak to me anymore. So we had a restraining order where I couldn't speak to her. A lot of things came out that was part of my private life. But through strength, through friendship, my friends came to the hospital when I wasn't expecting them to come. Some of my closest friends came. I built new friends from that. And it was a journey because it showed me that we are allowed to fail. I always wanted to be the man. And for once, I wasn't the man. And not being the man humbled me and realized that I'm human and I need to treat people better. And know that even though sometimes I didn't feel like my family had my back, my friends had my back. My coworkers had my back. People that I didn't expect to have my back had my back. And that's how we're here now. From that journey, we started going to therapy. And it's been 2 years of therapy every Wednesday. I love my therapist. Shout out to Latasha. And this is how we got here now. And I thank God every day that I'm alive and well and in a great mental.
Okay, so first of all, that is absolutely amazing. I love that for you. I love that. I love that you. I think you break down a lot of stereotypes, right? Because one, again, we met each other at Trinidad Carnival. You were having a ball. I was having a ball. But you were having a time and a half. Here, there, everywhere. Like, oh, where's Gibby? Oh, they gone to this vet. So you wouldn't have known.
Never.
And then, going to the facility and speaking to all these people who had these other issues as well, you wouldn't have known. So it goes to to a larger sense too, because in the media we're thrown these images of what you think depression looks like, what you think suicide looks like, and what you think these mental health facilities look like as well, and who's in there. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that looks like us. And it's very, very true that a lot of Black people, Gibby, I give you this, because Black people do not know how to deal. Let me not say Black people. Caribbean people do not know how to deal with mental health at all.
They don't. But I think it's not just Caribbean people. I think a lot of people don't. Even with the people with our skin color, I don't even think that they don't go to like hospitals or certain things. I think they're just ashamed. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people are ashamed to admit that they're in therapy, or to be ashamed that it's not that there's not a lot of us in these hospitals or mental facilities, is that we'll never know, because when they come out, or even if they're here or they're not here, they don't speak about it. Like a lot of those people that I met at that time, because I was there for about 5 to 6 days, they don't speak about it. Like if I see them on outside right now, they'll say hi to me. But if I was with somebody else, they wouldn't even, like, if the person asks, hey, how did you two meet? I would be comfortable to say how we met. They probably wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Because it's a stereotype. There's a shame that comes with going to mental hospitals or taking medication. Even me, it affected my career. Being on medication at the time affected my career at the time. I was an armed guard for a security company. And because I was armed and taking medication, my job, I lost some of my status. I was there for 8 years, eventually lost that job because I became a hazard for them. I became a liability because I was on medication, and my medication changed my mood. And with dealing with those kind of customers and having a service weapon, they was worried that, they don't want me to use that weapon out of context, or because I was having a bad day, or I was emotional. So this is why a lot of people don't talk about it, because it was devastating for me. Like I had a 2-year downfall from taking medication, from things happening, from my family judging me, from friends. I wouldn't say judging me, but from me being embarrassed. So I do understand why some people just are not comfortable, and I'm just trying to see if I can make more people comfortable in their space. Okay.
So I remember the exact day. I literally can remember the post, the black and white post on Instagram of you basically telling your story to the world. What prompted you to tell your story on social media?
I feel like I was having a lot of disagreements with a person that I won't name. And having disagreements, that person to me, I felt knew so much about me that in a small disagreement and fallout, I had a paranoia where I just didn't understand why this was happening. And so one day I realized why this fallout may be happening is because there's different things going on in my life. And I was trying to put everything together. And then one of the things that was going on in my life at the time was not necessarily that I was into the gambling or into something bad was happening. It was just that I was afraid of going outside. I was afraid of speaking to certain people because of when the situation happened, I wasn't living in Brooklyn. So now that I'm back living in Brooklyn, I run into a lot of people that I've never seen since that incident. So I had a fear of going outside. I have a fear of speaking to somebody. I had this fear of posting. Even though I post on social media, I have a fear of posting. Because I feel like
I'm shocked by that.
I do. I have a fear of posting because every time I do it, I believe like the first thing that people was going to think about was, oh, look at the guy who was in the mental hospital, or look at Gibby who lost all this money gambling. You feel me? Yeah. So instead of it being different stories, which I've heard, I run into people, they'll tell me a story. Instead of different stories now, I've decided to tell the story and own up to my truth and own up to my mistakes so no one can ever hold that again. And that was why that morning happened. Like I woke up and I just felt like free in myself. And I freed myself because I felt like I wasn't free for a long time. I had relationships that didn't work. I had friendships that were ending. And I was the common denominator. And I wanted to understand why I was. And that was because I had things buried inside of me. So once I freed myself, now I'm comfortable in my space that you can't tell me nothing about me that I won't tell you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And that this journey has happened. So I'm just trying to see if I can just get more people to be open about it. That day, the DMs were a lot. People telling me their stories, people explaining to me situations that happen in their lives. And it just encouraged me to start my own platform, start my own podcast, and just to see if I can get more people to open up about stuff that's happened in their lives, good and bad.
So let me get this straight. So you're in a safe. So you had a situation happen to you, and you sought professional help, and you were in such a safe space that you were like, you know what, I'm gonna let these people know, and you let it all out on social media, and you created this safe space where people started coming to you, and then you got the idea, let me create a safe space, and then now we have to come. It's a Safe Space podcast.
It's a Safe Space podcast.
I love that. I love that.
That's my baby. That's my baby, man.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was overwhelming, and I'm not. In another word, I would have been a therapist or mental health counselor, because a lot of us need it. And that day, I realized my goal wasn't to start a podcast that day. It was no podcast. It was no. I thought people were going to come to me and share these stories. I just wanted to vent. Sometimes you need to vent.
Yeah.
And I speak to my therapist every day, every Wednesday. We text every day. I'm close with my mom. So it's not like I didn't have anybody to speak to, but I just wanted to vent because I just felt like I just wanted everybody to know this is my journey and this is where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm. That is beautiful.
And you got to own it. Yeah, and you got to own it. We make mistakes. We're human. And sometimes people try to make us feel like we're not human.
Listen.
Because of mistakes. Come on,
listen,
man.
Gibby, you are dropping so many gems right now. Like, I'm like, you see this big ass smile on my face. Like, I'm really happy for you.
This is different, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so used to a different.
Yeah.
But it's real, and it's genuine. It's real and it's genuine and it's authentic. Because I've been through real life shit. And once you do, you grow. And this is who I am now. Still like to have my fun, but I go through real life shit.
Yeah.
And then going through real life shit, I own it, and I want everybody to understand this social media life is BS. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It looks nice, but each and every one of us are going through something where everybody needs some type of assistance, some type of help, some type of counseling, some type of therapy, something. Because we all going through something.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That is so true, because like even I go through. I've been very, or at least I try to be very vocal on the podcast about my mental health issues that I had. Actually, probably around not the same time, but later on in the year, because it was like a couple months after Carnival. Like I had like a full. Like I went to a therapist. I was like, I feel a little depressed. I want to talk to somebody. I like poured out my soul, and just like I was crashing, and it was to the point.
Are you in therapy now? I'm
not in therapy now because I don't have insurance, but hopefully soon I'll be back into therapy. But but I get where you're coming from, because when I went to therapy, it was like releasing everything. You think you like will feel lighter. Not necessarily, in my case, not necessarily. Like, I felt a burden. Like, I was very anti-medication as well, because I have family members that work in they're mental health nurses, and they work in the mental health profession in some cases. And it was always looked down upon, because, I was born and raised in Jamaica. We basically have the same culture, so you know what comes with that. But, like, dealing with everything, when that emotion drops on you, I don't care who you are. You could be Barack Obama. You could have all the people around the world that love you. When the depression hits, it really,
especially if it's building. If it's building for years or not. Like, even right now, I'm starting to understand trauma that I've had for things that I thought was normal. Like, just discipline. Growing up having discipline. Not saying abuse. I'm going to stick with discipline. But Haitians are a little heavy-handed. Yeah. And I've been through some shit where I just thought it was normal. And all of that is trauma. There's so much trauma that I learned. Like, even my kids right now, I can't I would never even tap it sometimes because, you need to sometimes if they act up, but even that gives me some trauma because I remember how I felt when I got disciplined and how excessive I believe it was. But I also understand the culture and what they was taught. But so even now at 32, I'm learning that I had all this trauma from things that I thought was normal.
Okay, so let's talk about family and trauma real quick. Because as you mentioned before, you are Haitian American. Your mom and dad are from Haiti, and you grew up in Brooklyn in the 90s. So, and you grew up near Flatbush. So basically you're from Haiti. So like you growing up in the 90s in 1990s Brooklyn is a trauma within itself because there was a lot happening, right? And growing up with that and going on the Parkway and all that. So how did your family respond to the incident that happened?
So the two people that were mostly involved was my mother and my I have an older brother. I have two older brothers. So my middle, I guess he's the middle oldest brother, right? They came, and because of my personality, at first people I wouldn't say they didn't take it serious, but it was more like, what the F is the problem? Like, what was going on? Because some people have never even seen me cry or I don't even get sad. So to be in that position, and when they saw me, I was so full of meds, it was just like, what's going on here? Because no one could believe that a person like me that was full of life, full of energy, full of jokes, and now that was taken away. So my brother was a little insensitive, but because he didn't understand. But he was still sensitive because I'm his brother. I would say my mom didn't understand at all because she's not only that she's Haitian, Caribbean, she's religious. So the religion aspect of it takes so much more. It's just like, how dare you try to take your life? How dare you try to harm yourself? You're a child of God. You go to church. You grew up in church. How dare you? So instead of her asking what's wrong or what happened, it was more, I dare you. How can you? But the time when she really became sensitive to the subject was when she saw the cuts. The cuts really hurt her. Like, I never see her break down, and she broke down when she saw the cuts on my arm. And so I think that she's still balancing understanding, but because I'm her son, she still loves me and she'll still be on my side. But I feel like she still has a hard time understanding mental health because she's still consumed with religion. And she's so consumed with, praying, and anything that goes wrong in our life, we need to pray more than help and talking to a therapist or, doing other things that would take your mind off whatever you're feeling, the depression, the anxiety. They don't understand that. And I just have to accept that. And, it is what it is. We still have a good relationship. That's still my mom. I love her. But I just understand that the balance, she won't understand.
Okay. So...
And I struggle with that. Me and my therapist talk about it all the time.
So you mentioned religion, and you're Caribbean, and you mentioned you have a very religious mother. And in my opinion, I feel like out of all the Caribbean people that I've interacted with thus far, cultures, all that, I feel like Haitians are the most religious people I have ever met in my life. Like, literally. I feel like if I go out to a Haitian church right now, I feel like the Bible will just come to my they'll throw a Bible at my forehead. Like that, like,
why it's so bad? Because you don't even have to go to church to be religious in Haiti. It's just, once you're born, you could be a pagan and still be religious. The country is just a religious country, and they're very stern about certain things. It's like, the person may not even believe in God, but they'll say, how dare you smoke cigarettes? And you'll be like, why is cigarettes bad? They don't have an answer. It's just certain things that Haitians just look bad upon, and then add religion to it. It's just like, oh my God.
Did religion play a part in your mental? How does religion play a part in your mental health? Essentially, does it play a part?
So I'm balancing. It's a balance because certain things in our religion, and being a Christian Baptist Haitian, contradicts a lot of things that we're taught. A Haitian Baptist Christian. So, because that's three different religions if you think about it. Being a Haitian is a religion. Being Christian is a religion. And being Baptist is a religion. Because Baptists are different. And I feel like in all the religions, Baptist is a very stern religion where they have a lot of rules for men, they have rules for women, and they have ways to how you're supposed to act upon arriving in church. But we'll leave that for another day.
We will.
But yes, all three of those and growing up in all three of those was very, very difficult. And having that and being in tune with my mental health, you have to learn to balance it. You have to take certain things from the religion. You have to take certain things from the mental health. You have to take away certain things from the mental health and take some things from the religion. So it's like I have therapy every Wednesday, but I also have to pray every day.
Yeah.
You understand? I have to take walks when my anxiety is crazy, but I should also pray and ask God for help with my anxiety. You understand? So that's how I'm taught to balance it. Because even though I'm not the most religious person, I do have religious beliefs. And a lot of the things that you learn in therapy or a psychiatrist tells you contradict. But I just feel like you can balance it. And I think I'm balancing.
Like, Gib, like, I'm just like enamored with like your journey. And like, because I think I think a lot of people, a lot of Caribbean people, especially our age, because we're in our 30s, right? And I think we're at the cusp where we're dealing with adulthood. Like the 20s was fun, we were wilding out, all that. We had our freedoms, we were making a little bit more money. But now we're like dealing with it, right? So let's talk about the podcast, because this is what I'm excited for. So what can we expect for the podcast?
Absolutely. So the podcast is launching next month, October 2021, about a week or two before Halloween. I won't say the date,
I'm
but
excited.
I'll tell you what to expect it. Right? Okay. And so the podcast basically is, the motto is all things uncomfortable in space. So it's a place that I want to talk about things that are uncomfortable. Because I feel like in today's society, because of cancel culture and the sensitivity of everyone, there's not a lot of places where people are themselves because of fear of judgment, of being canceled, of going viral for the wrong reasons. And I think podcasting is a good platform where you can still be yourself and not be forced to be this other person that we are not, and hiding how you really feel because of fear of, being judged or not going against, or going against the grain, or being. And I've never been somebody who goes the grain. I have to go against the grain. Yes. I have to be different. And I feel today's society is making me watering me down, and I don't like to be watered down. I have opinions. I have strong opinions, and I'm not. I don't go. If everybody goes right, I like to go left, but not on purpose. It's just because I'm not everybody. So I created this space, this podcast, that makes everything comfortable in a safe space, and I just want to talk about it. So I want to talk about subjects that are uncomfortable. This like R. Kelly, Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion. That's the gossip. That's the celebrity. But I also want to talk about everyday news, the election, what's going on in Haiti right now, how you feel about it. And so I want my platform to be somewhere where we can come, laugh, joke, smile, drink. I like to smoke, so there's going to be some smoking too. And that's my safe space. That's what I like to do. When I go to therapy, I like to smoke. I like to be comfortable, talk, be myself. And if I can't be myself, I'm not. So my podcast is somewhere where I just want to be myself, no rules, no holds barred, and just talk and be comfortable. And it may be controversial.
We love controversy.
People may have opinions.
People love controversy. Yeah.
You gotta accept it. You gotta accept it. Listen, I was not afraid to say about 4 years ago when Trump first ran, I was pro-Trump. I was. You know what?
I'm gonna have a roundtable, and I'm gonna bring on the Haitian Republican that voted for Trump twice, and we can have a conversation.
Listen, now, don't get me wrong though. He wound up going really left, but in the beginning, a
lot of people did, yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like that. Oh, Gibby, you're supposed to be pro-black, pro-this. But here's the thing: it wasn't that I liked Trump. I just didn't like Hillary because I'm Haitian, and I know what the Clintons did to Haiti. You understand? So that's why social media is scary, because everybody's saying, let's go Biden, let's go Hillary, but don't understand that I may not be for that and why I'm not for that. It's not because I'm not for the Black Lives Matter. It's not like I'm not for people dying or the cops killing. Of course I'm against that. But I am a Haitian American, and I know what the Clinton Foundation did to my people. So because of that, I was a little pro-Trump. But if I sit on social media,
where's my lighter?
So now I don't have to go on your platform. I can go on my platform and express how
you can still come on the platform and talk about your feelings. Listen. We have an open door policy, but yeah, we do. Okay. So you told me what your first episode is going to be. Can you give my audience a smidget of what they can expect on your first episode?
Absolutely. So my first episode, I am going to have a live therapist.
Where else?
So I am going to actually have my every week, every day, every hour, because she's everything. She's like my life coach, my therapist, my financial planner, my stepmom. Listen, my first week of having therapy, I thought I was in love with her. Like, that's how, and then I was taught, then I was explained that that's actually a condition when you have therapy.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's a real thing that you believe that you're in love with your therapist. This way. Like, she understood me a way that no one's ever understood. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, definitely I'm going to have a live therapy session where we're going to just talk about a lot of things, because she's also the person who made me comfortable to have my podcast. She was my biggest encouragement, where you go for it, do it. And because she's an actual therapist, and my podcast is a mix of a mental health podcast, but it's not really, but it has a little something to do with my mental health, not everybody else's. So she was very instrumental in letting me understand what I'm doing, teaching me how to go about this space so I won't get in trouble, but also to help my peers. And so I'm going to do a live therapy session to show me, a young African-American male.
Excuse me. No. Young Haitian-American male that is of African descent. That's a mouthful. Yeah.
Yes.
We have to put that in there.
Sounds way better than mine. Yes. But yeah, I just want to show that, it's not scary, because some people are scared of therapy. Some people are nervous about it. And I just want to show, it's not coming there and spilling all your dark secrets. It's just coming somewhere to speak, be comfortable, talk about things. And I'm going to share a lot. There's no host bards. There's nothing scripted. Mm-hmm. There's no pre-conversation. There's no pilot. It's just me and her going straight at it. And it's not going to get edited. It's going to just be honest and real.
I love it. And
I'm just doing this to show y'all therapy is dope, it's fun, and it's a safe space.
I love it. You already know I love it. You already know. I'm really excited for this, because again, I think I've said this before. I feel like our generation is a generation of change. Being that like we're kind of the in between generation. Like, we were there when there was no like internet, and then we were there when there was. We built it. We are the internet. We built the internet. We made the internet what it is. We built up these platforms, and I feel for Caribbean people too. There's such an interesting dynamic of where we are now, and I think our generation in particular, we're prioritizing mental health. We're saying, you know what? We have trauma. We're talking to someone. We're going out there. We're going on medication, which is very, I think before it was very taboo, but I think for now it's like, okay, it's fine. So I'm here for it. I'm excited for when it launches, and when you launch, of course, we're going to be sharing it across Mango Tea Podcast social media.
This is what we're here to. This is the community. We're this is our new family, the podcasting world. And, I just want all of us to. That's why I wanted to come on your platform. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to, share some stories, laugh, have some drinks,
and
just show people, we can all work together. We can all work together, because I spoke to you before, and I always told you this, that I worked with Jules in one of my past lives, long time ago. And I was able to see how they build their communities. And it was by working together. It wasn't like this guy knew this woman and this woman knew this guy. It's just that because you're my people, I want success for you. and we're going to find a way to succeed, no matter what it is, no matter what the world thinks of us, whatever. We're going to work together to make this our community, and we're going to do this together. And this is what I feel about podcasting, and that's what I'm doing right now. Almost everybody that I know who has a podcast, I have DM, I have asked questions, I have picked their brains. And because I think I'm lucky enough to be able to do that and make my podcast successful, because I've taken from every single person that has a podcast, successful or not. I don't care what it is. You've been here before me. You are everybody's an OG now, and I'm just stuck in the game. So I'm going to everybody and asking, hey, how did you launch? How long did it take you to launch? And I'm just getting ideas. And together, I just feel like we're going to build this, and we're going to be great, man. And hopefully I'm a part of being this. I'm a part of this great.
And impacting lives. Because I really do think that your podcast is going to impact lives. Just based on like some of the personal conversations you've had, and the content you're going to be bringing. I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
I do too. I am too. It's scary because people do go through stuff, and one disclaimer I do want to make is that with my podcast, I would definitely love to help, and if my podcast helps bring joy, bring laughter into the world, I'm happy. But I also, people that's going through real life stuff should it, also reach out to help. We're here to laugh, share stories, talk about things. But if you're really going through certain things, there's hotlines, there's numbers that you can call that, to get actual help. Because I'm here to share my story, but I'm not a professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm just a guy who went through real life shit, and I'm here to talk about it. But if you really, really do need help and you're going through certain things, I definitely feel like there's numbers. There's a suicide hotline. If you go on my Instagram page, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have it on there. And, you can call the hotline 24/7, and they're there to help because I've done it. I got my.
Oh, that's dope.
That's how I couldn't. Yes, I couldn't find one in the yellow pages, but I actually had called Gamblers Anonymous, and they got my therapist. So, there's help in this world. So don't use insurance as an excuse. If you just said something, that's an excuse. You can get therapy without insurance.
You can, but I'm not paying for it.
I'm calling you up. No. So, it's the truth. Actually, not based on you, but
so for my situation, I just started a new job, so I'm switching insurances, and there's usually a lag period, 30 days before I can get my new insurance. So I'm waiting, and I didn't like my old therapist, so I'm in the market for a new one. So I'm using this period to look for a new one, so I can jump right in.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Everyday life, I do think that, you do need, it's expensive. It is expensive. You do need insurance. But for anybody out there that's going through addiction and that's going through real life, they do offer free services for that. Because addiction is real, and they will help you get insurance. So, people who don't have insurance, not that you don't, you're transferring. But anybody who's watching this that don't have insurance, do not think that you can't get a therapist. You can. If you call 311, you call numbers, they will help you, especially if you're feeling suicidal, you're feeling depressed, you have an addiction. There's help out there. There's resources. We just got to get it out there. A lot of people don't know, and, lack of information has a lot of people not knowing. But there is a lot of resources out there. So don't ever think that you can't have a therapist because you don't have insurance. There's resources, do the information, go to Google, and you can find the help.
There's certain episodes where, I would be I'm so inspired right now. This is one of those episodes where I'm I'm excited.
I'm inspired by y'all. I'm inspired by the people, man. The people win. For me, the people inspire me, man.
So this episode was a little bit weird because we didn't do our usual thing. So I'm going to ask, what's your favorite mango?
My favorite mango is any liquor that has a mango flavor. Can we say that? Can we say anything with a mango taste? I think anything with a mango taste is my favorite mango. Because the truth is, I've never had a mango.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Okay, what's your favorite tea? What's your favorite tea?
My favorite tea is green tea. I don't know if that's a joke, but green tea is my favorite because it's calming. It's very calming, and when I wake up in the morning, it does help me start.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen, and I'll probably use it to promote the episode. I'm going to buy you a box of Haitian mangoes, and I'm also going to bring you some bush mint. Grown right here, so it's literally grown right here in Brooklyn, fresh from the ground. I'm going to pick mint leaves. I'm going to bring it to you, and we're going to work something out, and I'm going to make you mint tea. And you're going to eat some mango.
You're going to make me mint? All right. Here's the deal. So I can be calm on my first episode of my podcast. I tell you the deal.
Okay.
I'll give you the information of where I'm filming or the day I film. And for the tea, I can have the tea on live when I'm doing my session so it can help me calm. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the tea on the day I record the therapy session so I can be calm and relaxed since that's my first. And I'll probably be nervous and I'll probably be anxious. So I'm going to actually see if this tea works. So I'm going to have it on my podcast.
Oh, okay, sure of course. I'm gonna bring my mint. Listen, my family, they are all from the country in Jamaica, and they grow things, and there's mint around our house in Brooklyn. I'm gonna bring the mint, and I'm gonna bring you I'm literally gonna bring you a box of Haitian mangoes because okay. So here's the thing. In January, we had a Professor Arcelion from I think it was Kennesaw State University. And she was telling us there are over 44 varieties of mangoes in Haiti. Yes. So the fact that you don't like mangoes, it's offensive to me. Actually, when we had the Haitian Trump supporter on the podcast, he was saying that he's going to start a mango grove in Haiti to generate income for locals down there and to spawn economic opportunities. So I'm going to bring you some mangoes, Haitian mangoes. Listen, if I maybe I'll even take a trip somewhere and bring back some mangoes in some very interesting ways.
Just make sure you slice them because I cannot eat the way
God.
I can't put my face.
Oh my God! Listen,
I'm not used to putting my face in things where people are going to see it in public. So I'm used to doing that in my house. So make sure you cut and dice them, okay? Because I gotta eat it with a fork or something. Because mangoes are too messy. They're too messy.
Oh my gosh, your ancestors!
They're too messy.
Our ancestors are rolling in their graves right now. Listen,
they are. They're screaming. They're screaming mango.
Let me tell you,
because it's bad. Trust me, I'm Haitian. When we have like this thing every year in a Haitian church, it's called moisson. Moisson is harvest, and in harvest we got to bring fruit, and the most fruit that they bring is mangoes. And I'm a musician. I play the drums in church, so you know they always take care of musicians first. You know how it goes. So they would come and bring me like mangoes. I'm looking at this like, who's eating this in front of you right now? Like, who's going? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? Like, this is not happening. This is not happening. You know. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to ask you something. With your platform, since it is Caribbean, what do you feel that what's going on with the migrant workers, the Haitian migrate?
My opinion is that it's absolutely deplorable. These are people that have struggled and have been shitted on, right? For centuries upon centuries upon centuries. And we went to Afghanistan with or money, because it's taxpayer dollars that's funding this. And they went to Afghanistan, they wasted billions of dollars, and their refugees can come into the U.S. willy-nilly. And then they can have refugees from all over the world, right? But when it's Haitians, it's an issue. It's been an issue since even before the 1980s, because Haitians have been applying for refugee status into the United States forever. And I think they're leveraging on an old, outdated narrative about Haitians, and I think it's deplorable. It needs to stop. So I'm disgusted by it. I know that I think everyone knows actually that the horrible things that Clinton administration has done, right? The horrible things that have been done to the banking industry. Because if you look back in history, because we had an episode that didn't air because we had some technical difficulties with the audio, where we got a breakdown of what Haiti is like on the ground from a friend of ours, and she was telling us about how horrible the president at the time was, why he shouldn't be elected, some of the failings of the systems. But we also in doing our research as well for Black History Month, we found out that there was a burgeoning creative community in Haiti that came from Haiti. Some really, really great artists. So I think Haitians spew greatness. One of my really best friends is a Haitian American. So what's happening down there? And the fact that they were on horseback and using whips.
Yo, they thought it was Seabiscuit out here. Like, yeah. I'm like, yo, what the? I'm looking at this. I'm like, what is going on with this? Like, what is the white man going?
Yeah,
like,
and
I'm
me
like,
personally, like, outside the pop, like, I voted for Joe Biden, for the presidential election. No, I'm not, because I feel like the alternative would have been worse, to be honest. Yep, more people would have died, right? Because his platform was perpetuating the anti-vaccine, anti-mask mandates and all that. Even though he himself took the vaccine and he does wear a mask. And he also got COVID. But yeah, and for the fact that he called people from your country, he called people from Haiti, he got people from Jamaica, people from the African continent. They said our countries are shithole countries. First of all, Jamaica is not a shithole country. Haiti is not a shithole country. So I think the alternative would be worse. I think that Kamala, even though she is of Jamaican descent, she doesn't. I think she doesn't own up to it. One, she owns up to it in private. This is my opinion, and I feel like she was put up there as a scapegoat to get the black vote, which worked. It worked, but like Absolutely. I think he would have gotten elected by black people either way. So I think it's a deplorable situation. And I honestly, I feel like it may get worse. I know that we're throwing resources, we're throwing money towards it, but I think that situation in the border is going to get worse as the weeks come on.
It definitely, but I feel like it's going to get worse, but it's only because there's going to be some bloodshed or something bad that's going to happen, because people don't understand. Haiti is the first country that got its independence because they fought and they revolted. And then low key right now, some people don't know, it's happening again. Haitians are not just going to roll over and let you like disrespect or hurt them. They're going to fight back. And that's why the people don't know. Like, it's not because I'm Haitian I'm saying this. Even if I wasn't, I know the history. To revolt against a whole nation that tried to take over your land and become the first country to have the independence, I feel like they're getting punished for that. You know, I feel like they're still getting punished to this day for that. So a lot of things that are happening today, I think that people don't forget that. I think the world didn't forget that, okay, you slaves were the first people who revolted and won. So what's going on right now is really messed up. And I don't like how America's handling it, because, you know, there's a lot of things going on social media right now when they're showing you the relationship that Haiti and America had. And America,
shout out to Know Your Caribbean like on Instagram for posting that, because it's all over social media.
Yeah, it's like they forget fast, and they only go with things that immediately may have a good effect on them, like, you know, with the Iraq and Pakistan, and how, you know, they took care of those, because they have a propaganda. They have an agenda. And with Haiti, it seems like, you know, we did what we needed to do with you guys. We got the tourism, you know, set up. We're good now. Whatever. Now you guys are on your own. And I feel like that's what's happening. And it's a sad, sad story. And I hope everything gets resolved. And I'm praying, you know, not too many lives are lost, because let's be real. There's going to be, like, you know, we wish for the best, but
I completely agree. Completely agree.
It's going to get worse.
And you know what? Even the Haitian Revolution itself, because when we were doing our Black History Month celebrations and our Women's History Month celebrations, There was a woman that I'm blanking, Marie something, completely blanking her name, but she was one of the fiercest women warriors, that was fighting in the revolution alongside her husband. And I think Haiti is very revolutionary in itself because Haiti had one of the first. No, actually, I think they had the first, or it was the second, but in this region, in the Western Hemisphere, right? They had the first female head of state. Haiti had a female president. Not a lot of people know that. And like even for me as well, like even for me and Dakari, when we're talking, like growing up, we would see so many negative images of Haiti. I didn't meet a Haitian until I went to college. Technically, I met one in high school, but she hid the fact that she was Haitian.
Yeah, we'll change your life, baby. We'll change your life. You better go find yourself some Haitian time.
So I think having more Haitians like you, and I think also with the proliferation of social media as well, and the world getting closer, I think we're learning more about the history of Haiti, learning more that, no, it was not the devil, no, it was not none of this, right? It's literally colonial forces, colonial and neo-colonial forces on Haiti because Haiti represents something that they don't want proliferated in the world.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for saying that too, because a lot of people won't defend. But I think a lot of people are starting to understand things too. So I feel like it unfortunately has to get worse before it gets better, but I do feel like one day it's going to get better. And, people are going to understand what Haiti's really about and not just what we see on TV and the bullshit propaganda that, people push. But eventually I think the world is going to see, because things were getting a little good, things were getting a little better. This sucks because the country was just rebuilding. And to everybody
that's saying, oh, it's because of the devil, because of the voodoo. And voodoo is all over the world, baby. All over the world. Listen, Christianity, as we practice it today, even in the Caribbean, it's not really Christianity, it's paganism. It's Roman Catholic paganism. It's Roman paganism. Some of these ceremonies, they rebranded as Christianity and kept the rituals moving. They have some rituals that originated in Europe that proliferated. So let's not go there, because as I mentioned before, I feel like Haitians are some of the most Christian people I have ever met in my life. They are on that fault line, and then they're like, oh, but it doesn't affect DR. Do your geography, do your studies, do your Googles to find out about that Haitian fault line. Because I remember when the first earthquake happened in Haiti, I was actually in Jamaica at the time, and I'll never forget it because I was visiting Jamaica for the Christmas to New Year's holidays. And I was in my mom's house, and I was in the living room, and I was like, "Mommy, you feel that? You feel the earthquake?" And I was just there sitting down on the internet. And couple, maybe like 30 minutes later, we found out that there was this huge earthquake, and the epicenter was in Haiti. So, yes. All right.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so definitely pray for my people. We love y'all. We have to get a little dark because, that's current events, and we have to be responsible with the platforms. So, we did that. But, definitely praying for my people, praying for everybody. Just one of love and peace. And,
of course,
that's it. But I definitely, let's keep our prayers for Haiti and whatever's going on over there in Texas at the border.
Listen.
It's insane.
Yep, but, definitely. And you know what? I feel like the next, the person that's going to be curing cancer is going to be probably coming from someone that's at the border right now. I'll help market the drug. I don't know if I'll be able to cure it, but hey, you never know. Okay, again, Gibby, thank you again for joining and telling us about your story. I'm really excited about your podcast coming out in October. So if you haven't already, go on your social media and follow at It's a Safe Space Pod on Instagram, and also don't forget to follow Mango Tea Podcast, as I know that It's a Safe Space Pod will be following Mango Tea Podcast on Instagram as well. And Mm-hmm. So we're excited. So
come
again,
on.
thank you.
Big.
And don't forget
Definitely.
to follow, share, and comment on the story if you're on YouTube, and share this across all mediums. Because again, I think we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about mental health a lot in our Caribbean culture. It's very taboo. Suicide, mental health,
We don't.
the whole gamut. We don't talk about, and I think no, it's our time now.
It's our time, definitely. So yes, you can follow me. The Instagram is it's a Safe Space Pod. We are also on YouTube, which is it's a Safe Space Podcast on YouTube. So it's a Safe Space Podcast on YouTube. It's a Safe Space Pod on Instagram, and you can also follow me, Gibby the Kid, DAKID, Gibby the Kid on Instagram. And yes, I thank you for having me. I'm humbled. I'm appreciative. I thank you because this is my first podcast before mine. This actually helped me get out the nerves and
that's tea,
got me
really,
comfortable.
and water.
The drink definitely helped. So
of course,
I appreciate you. It's love. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're here together.
Listen,
we're learning from each other.
Anytime. I'm going to be calling you.
I appreciate for having me on.
Thank
you so much.
Episodes are spinning in my head right now.
Hey man, don't call me too much, man. Because listen, even though I'm a mental health guy, still a guy, still Gibby. You hear me?
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining Mango Tea Podcast, and we'll see you for the next episode. All right.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.